Ladies and gentlemen, I have an update on a case that happened back in 2018. In fact, I did a video on this. This white supremacist went to a Kroger supermarket and he killed two black people. He gunned down and killed Maurice Stollard and Vicky Jones. Now, Maurice was in the supermarket with his grandson when he came up and shot him. He went out in the parking lot and Vicky Jones had just pulled into the parking lot. She got out of her car and she was walking up towards the supermarket and he gunned her down. So she never made it in the store. Well, the update is Gregory Bush will be spending the rest of his life behind bars with no parole. He was sentenced this past Tuesday in the Jefferson Circuit Court, and this was in Kentucky, if some of you remember. So he got life without parole for the murders of Maurice Stollard and Vicky Lee Jones on October 24th, 2018. He pled guilty but mentally ill, which means the Kentucky Department of Corrections will be obligated to provide him with treatment and medication. In a statement, the Commonwealth attorney, Tom Wine, said Vicky Jones and Maurice Stollard were senselessly murdered because of the color of their skin. Our position is that there is nothing the criminal justice system could do to undo the harm Mr. Bush did that day. But he has now been held accountable and is no longer in a position to do similar harm. Jeff Cook, a prosecutor who is a spokesman for the office, said, "We felt that life without parole was the proper outcome." Bush was sentenced by the Jefferson Circuit Court Judge Annie O'Connell to 20 years for criminal intent, murder, and 5 years each on 2 counts of murder. But the sentence will be served concurrently. Bush, 53, also agreed to plead guilty in the U.S. District Court for 3 federal hate crimes and 3 gun charges. Attorney General William Barr agreed not to seek a death penalty on those charges. Both Stollard, 69, and Jones, 67, were black. And a white bystander at the Kroger parking lot that afternoon, Bush told him, "Whites don't shoot other whites." Do y'all remember that? I know y'all remember that. Shortly before Bush drove to the Kroger at Stony Brook Shopping Center and began shooting. Police said he also tried to enter the First Baptist Church of Jeffersontown, a predominantly black congregation. Yes, he did. He tried, but he couldn't get in that church. And that's when he drove to the Kroger. So he was just hell-bent on shooting someone black that day. Okay, so the doors of the church were locked and Bush was seen trying to pull them open. Investigators said Stollard and Jones never met Bush, so they didn't even know who he was. They had no connection with him. A tragedy is an accident, Jones' nephew, Kevin Gunn, said at the time. This was intended. So I guess he saw a shrink while he was in there, and they determined that, he was competent enough to go through a trial, but he was still considered mentally ill. While Kentucky has had a hate crime statute since 1997, it contains no additional penalties for such offenses. 3 lawmakers from Louisville had announced they intended to introduce legislation in 2021 to toughen the penalties for state offenses based on hate. Whenever a death or assault or even damage to property is the result of hatred focused on the victim's race, ethnicity, gender, sex orientation, or religion, there should be an increase in punishment imposed for the underlying offense, Wine said. The proposed legislation, which our office worked on with the senators, is a step towards justice for all people. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad he is getting life behind bars. This is something we rarely see in cases that occur in America because they never want to do anything to people that harm us. So it's shocking that they came to this conclusion when it came down to Gregory Bush here. But it's good to know that he is never going to see the light of day again. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.